Today I'm joined by Mikel Thomas. Mikel is triple Olympian, competed at the 2008, 2012 and 2000 Olympic Games, representing Trinidad and Tobago in track and field. Biggest achievements next to being a triple Olympian, silver medalist at the Pan Am Games in 2015. Welcome.
Good day. Glad to be here.
Are you chasing your countryman Otto Bolton in participation at Olympic Games? I think he has 4, right?
Yeah, he does. We actually have, I think, probably the Cleopatra Burrell might be approaching 5 or 6. She might have the most in athletics for the shot on the women's side. We've had a great amount of representation. I'm actually in the city of Atlanta where my Olympic hopes started. That's where Otto Bolden, first put on a show and showed what people from Trinidad and Tobago can do. Before him was Hazley Crawford, who won in Montreal, the gold medal in the 100. So we have a rich history as a small island of 1.5 million people. So hopefully I could just do my part to lead the next generation to do greater things.
That's cool. So you're preparing towards Tokyo now?
Absolute. This will hopefully be my last games. I just would love to be able to do more for the sport. It's a lot of sacrifice, hard work, being an athlete. And I feel like there's a lot of life that I would love to experience. Not necessarily like you saying where he just wanted to live the rest of his life, but I do feel like my greatest contribution to the sport is what I can do behind the scenes and not just as an athlete.
Okay, cool. In your life as an athlete, what was your darkest moment?
I think I would have to be, 2014, even coming off of 2013, which was a really great year for me. Made the world championship team, missed the world finals by 2/100th of a second to Aries Merritt in the semifinals. We broke the national record. We ran 13:19. The following year, we were having issues with funding. And, we're one of the few countries that has an established funding program. But we're a small nation. We have the resources, both human and financial. But there were some mistakes that were made, and I was an athlete that suffered from it. But it was a learning experience, one, to galvanize the athletes to have more understanding of what actually happens within organizations, and then to bring attention to some of the lapses that some of these governmental agencies that are supposed to be representing and taking care of the athletes sometimes miss the ball, and then the athletes have to suffer. I was not the only athlete that never received funding at a period of time. It's just that I literally was on my way to the Commonwealth Games and I received an eviction notice at the same time. So it hurts your heart when you're giving literally everything for your country. And in return, you're suffering a great deal. So we sacrifice so much personally, financially, our time, our body, our mind, our spirit. And so at that point, it was really difficult. But we were able to implement some really good changes. I think it was an opportunity for the organizations to better assess. They've renewed and revitalized a lot of their policy. And so hopefully we can prevent something like this from ever happening. And that's also part of my ambition. I took my darkest moments to now inspire me to do something greater. And that's why I'm pursuing my master's in sports management to ensure, again, the pathway for the future will be better than what I've paid. So when you leave something, you have to make sure it was better than when you met it. So hopefully I'll be able to contribute.
I saw that in an interview of you, you said like you wanted to contribute and give back, and sport is just a channel for you to do that. Can you elaborate on that? What do you want to contribute and what do you want to give back?
I guess if you was to make it like one theme or motto for my life, it would be to help people awaken the champion within them. I don't care about the arena. It doesn't matter if you're an educator or a sportsman or woman. I believe that there's more that's within us than we can ever imagine. And it's unfortunate, but it's true that through these dark times, we are able to see how strong we are. It's the same way that the body works. You only see strength through strain. Only when the body is under pressure that you can see how strong it is. And those same sporting principles are key in life. And so if I can help other people to realize all the power that's within their mind, within their heart, their body, and their spirit, I feel like if I do my small portion, I can change the world around me. And together, we can do great good for people. So it's not just about sport, it's about life. I want people to perform and perform at levels that they never even imagined themselves. So it all starts with a thought. I didn't think that I can be an Olympian until I saw someone do it. Then it was like, okay, maybe me. But I want people to take that maybe idea, like maybe I should go to school, maybe I should start this company, maybe I should do this, and turn that maybe into a reality.
It's like this Nelson Mandela, it's impossible until it's done, right? So you saw someone and then you yourself believed you can do it.
Exactly. And I think that's what we need, representation. We need other people even to share the struggle. Sometimes we just show them point A to B and we don't really explain the in-between. And so when people are faced with adversity, they quit. Because it was like, I didn't stand up for this. I just saw you on the podium, but I didn't know you had to put 10,000 hours into your craft. But, you know, with social media now, with how we're able to engage, I always try to make sure I put out content that's more realistic and not just a highlight reel that you can get on a sports channel, that people understand that it is hard work, it's long hours, it's money that you have to invest in your future. It's people business. It always is a people business. It's how you treat people. It's how people interact with you. And it's not just you receive, but what you're willing to give.
And in your life as an athlete, what was your best moment?
I have a few that I say would be. The first thing that comes to my mind is, strangely enough, at that same Commonwealth Games in 2014 in Glasgow, two athletes that I actually recruited to university, coached, and worked with also made it to represent their own national team. And so again, it was a beautiful moment to see that I helped plant and water a seed for the next generation. That a young man from Jamaica and a young man from Nigeria, actually two from Jamaica and one from Nigeria, was able to see themselves rise. That's very good. When you can help another person achieve their dream. This was to, you know, represent their nation at an international event. Years down the line, you can see something like that become a reality. It's really heartwarming. Another one is hopefully again planting seeds in 2015 at the Pan American Championships. That was the first time my family was actually able to see me compete at a major championships. Toronto, my family immigrated to New York City when I was younger, so I spent a lot of time in the United States. So New York and Toronto is only a few hours away, and most of the time, international championships are very far from the continental US. So this was the first opportunity to actually see me compete. And strangely enough, that was the first time I ever had to rerun a final. The original final, there was a timing issue somehow, and we ran the whole race.
Is it?
To run it again 30 minutes later. I actually fell in the first final off the last hurdle. So it was just like, I thought, you know, it was all over. But I literally thought like, okay, if I come back and I finish the race, maybe I might get a round of applause because I fell the first time. But when I looked into the stands and I could see my mother and my nieces, it just brought me peace. And it inspired me to at least, again, show them the principle of sport, that you have to get up and you have to finish. And we literally clear hurdles for a living as a hurdler, that no matter what your obstacles, you have the ability to overcome. And so I raced. I just left it on the line, left it on the track. There was a lot of emotion tied to that race, as a lot of people can see from my family. And then also, you know, from the trials and tribulations that I had to face the year before. But again, to receive the flag from my mother, that's always a beautiful moment, you know? Like your mother is giving you your flag and you go ahead and I get a little emotional even as your own mother is giving you your national flag and you have the honor of representing your family and your nation in a foreign country. That is something beautiful. And the smiles on the people's faces makes it all worthwhile.
Really cool. If you could travel back in time 10, 15 years, what advice would you give a younger Mikel?
Patience. Patience is the key. We battle a lot with, especially in this generation of instant gratification and wanting a lot right now. Again, because we're so overwhelmed with the amount of information and what we're seeing. We're not seeing the process. You know, I graduated university in 2009, and I would say it took me another 3 years to compete at the international level. The sport definitely needs some more things to kind of help this gray area, the in between. The United States is really good that they have the university system that allows some athletes to develop, but there still are individuals who just need a little bit more time. The hurdles is a very technical event, and I only took up the hurdles while in university. In fact, 2008 was my first year actually doing the 110-meter hurdles. I made the Olympic team. It's a steep learning curve, but with technical events, you get better as you get faster, your technique changes, there's constant evolution. So if you say 2008 was my really first year, it took me till 2012 to be internationally competitive. So that's still another 4 years of development. So I would hope that there would definitely be more things, and hopefully I can be one to contribute to those things on the other side that would allow more nations and more athletes to have the opportunity to develop over time. Now, I was one who had to work full-time, coaching, training, even firefighting while training. It's not impossible. It's not the best way, but we can figure it out. That's life. You got to be able to adjust, adapt, and evolve. But there is patience, and especially with yourself, and understanding that with every craft, in order to be exceptional, it takes 10,000 hours. It takes time. That's the one currency that we could not take back and we cannot escape. There's no give or take for time. So you have to put the time in order to be exceptional, and even in order to be good at something. So understanding that principle, being a little bit more forgiving of myself, I think I would have been able to enjoy certain aspects of the journey a little bit better. Because as an athlete, we get so focused when it comes. It's the Olympic year. It's like, it's the World Championships. We miss. One of my favorite books is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And there's a portion of it where there's this king who tells this young apprentice to visit his village, visit his castle, and tell him what he sees while simultaneously holding a spoon. That's kind of how we are. We are always holding this spoon, so focused on trying to keep everything balanced that's in the little cup that we miss the flowers or the animals and the birds and the breeze that's all around us. Like, I've been blessed to visit so many amazing countries, speak languages that I can't even remember, taste amazing food and culture. This is a lot, from a small island to the world. And so that's part of my journey now, is for as much that I've been able to gain. As Bob Marley would say, my richness is life. It's not necessarily monetary, but I've had so many experiences that I now can give back to communities and to individuals and help them know that there is something else. I really believe the only difference between a poor man and a rich man is options. And sometimes within poverty, you don't get to see your options. And so I was able to see that there was another way. There's something else that I can do. There's more options available for me. And so I took the better. And so we need to be able to help, at least have the conversation with people, and knowing that this is not the only way to do something. You can do something different. You could do something better. And conversation I would have with myself, and hopefully one I continue with other generations to come.
I would like to dig into that. You said you took up the 110-meter hurdles quite late in your career. What did you do before? I mean, of course, you were track and field athlete, but 100 meters, or what was your discipline?
Strangely enough, I wish I did more 100 meters. So I started my track and field journey in New York City when my family immigrated. And it is a colder climate. And my coach at the time had more of the long to short philosophy. So he started most of the sprinters in the 400. And so I was an All-American 4.2 while in high school. I'm 5'8", so maybe 175 centimeters. I'm not the tallest when it comes to the 110-meter hurdles. It's a 6 foot, dominated event. And it's not really something that I was recruited for while in high school to go to universities. So we picked up the 400 hurdles as an opportunity to just diversify my skill set my senior year in high school. This just allowed me the opportunity to start hurdling. We did pretty well. So at like 16, 17 years old, I was running like 53 in the 400 hurdles. Not bad, but it's an opportunity to just continue my development. I did maybe 2 110-meter hurdle races in high school, more so like just for points, just to see what we can do. I think I ran 14.9 in high school level. My first year in college, that would be 2006, I did more sprinting. So again, it's a progress. So I had more of a 2-4 background with strength, and then I started doing a lot more sprinting. So now I was getting speed, and I was also now in a more detailed strength and conditioning program. So now I'm actually addressing power. So I don't think my skill set as a youth, plus my body still developing, was truly identified, because what makes me an exceptional hurdler is my power and my speed. I feel like I'm one of the fastest in between, and I have the ability, even at my stature, to produce a level of force on the ground that allows me to clear the hurdles. It wasn't until I got to the University of Kentucky, so now this is 3 years later, that my coach was like, okay, we'll try both hurdles. And during the indoor season, he took me out of the event because he thought I was going to kill myself or somebody. I was raw. Again, this is like only year 3 at the event. I was raw. I had power, I had speed, but I did not know what to do with it. But I did believe in my heart that I enjoyed it. Plus, the relentless part of me did not like the idea of someone writing my story and telling me I couldn't do something. So I put in the time. I would go after practice and I would study and I would watch videos and I would do some drills. And then one night it clicked. I cleared the international height and I was like, I went home to Trinidad and Tobago for the national trials. I entered into the 110-meter hurdles. I ran like 14.1 first time at the international height. I think at the time it was like a junior record or something like that. It was significant enough that my college coach was like, next year, you know, that time would have made me qualify for like the regional championships, for the opportunity to advance to the NCAA championships. He's like, next year you need to do both. We did both the following year. I broke the then school record, went out, you know, I would say I'm probably one of the first hurdlers that started at the University of Kentucky. Right now, we've had people like, you know, Sydney McLaughlin and Daniel Roberts, who have been phenomenal in the event. So my alma mater has continued to evolve. But I like to think that I did my little piece to help the hurdle movement. We've had literally a national champion or a USA champion in the men's, women's, long and short hurdles. So I did my piece then. You know, records have been broken, as they should be. I'm glad. The school record is now 13 flat, which is amazing. 52 for the women's 400 hurdles. But again, my college coach at the time took a risk on me. Because someone was willing to invest in me, we were able to see great fruit. So it wasn't something expected. It was something that we worked for, something that was taken away. But through relentless faith and belief, we pursued it. And it has changed the course of my life. I wish I sprinted more, strangely enough. I mean, I think I probably would have been a really great long jumper. But again, that's all in the options. And when you're developing athletes, I think they need an opportunity to be diverse. Right now, there's a trend in over-specialization where you just have this focus at a very early age. But if that was me, I would have been in the 2-4 and I probably would have never made a national team, let alone been a triple Olympian and a national record holder. So if we can at least give people more experiences with different type of field, develop their overall skill set, and then allow them time to specialize once their body's a little bit more settled, I think we can change the careers of a lot of people.
Cool. So you talked about lack of patience, relentlessness. What are the habits that make you a successful athlete or person?
Number one is belief. You got to believe. Whatever you think in your mind, your body can conceive. And so whether you think you can or you can't, you're absolutely right. And I don't argue with anyone who said they can't do anything, because if you say it, it becomes your reality. And the body likes simplicity. It doesn't know the difference between a positive and a negative statement. It only knows statements. So if you say you're unable to do something, your body's going to be like, yep, that's what we're going with. But I have been able to achieve I've honestly been able to achieve things I didn't even believe. Like the Olympic year, I did not have the desire to run the 110-meter hurdles. I was trying, everybody has the hopes. You throw your dreams out there that you can make the Olympic team, not knowing how far off you really are. But I wanted to do it in the 400 hurdles because I was getting a level of comfortable, I was getting more comfortable with the event. I was getting a little bit stronger. So I thought my strongest chance was the 400 hurdles. It wasn't until like the regional championship and I ran like a wind-aided 13.6 or something, which was at the time like a B standard. I was like, I'm closer in this event than I am in this event. So I was like, okay, let's just continue. So this was like in May of the Olympic year. I'm like, okay, maybe I might have a chance in another event. So my story was probably written for me a long time ago. I just had the opportunity to live it out. So just that pursuit, that faith, that belief, whether it's, within your team, your coaches, your family, or a higher power, whatever you choose to truly rest in. Me, I definitely am a spiritual man. I have to believe in things larger than myself to give me that strength that I need to succeed. And it just keeps you going. Because I believe, again, that in the pursuit of the things that God puts on your heart, you become the person that you're meant to be. Because I've been trying to break the world record a long time ago. I mean, it's part of the reason I moved to Phoenix to train with Altus, for the opportunity to learn from Aries and Coach Andreas. Every race I run, I'm trying to break the world record. It hasn't been in the cards for me yet. I'm not, going to give up on that. But in that pursuit, I became an international medalist. I became the national record holder. I've broken the record twice, now two times already. I've still been able to achieve so much. So it's almost like when you shoot for the stars, you land on the moon. It's that you have to at least be able to pursue it. But I've had the rises, the falls, and all these things that have allowed me to become a man away from the sport. I'm more than just the athlete. I can stand away from the sport. So now I freely give from a good place in my heart. When I coach athletes, I have no desire to live through them. I'm not trying to live vicariously through them. I don't want them to do things that I never got a chance to do. I just focus on their development for where they are. There's a lot of athletes that I work with, especially at the youth level. I'm okay if they're not a youth star. My job is to plant, water the seed, give them a foundation, and then hand them off to a coach that's going to do the next job. But I understand my role. And that's part of the reason why I did so well as a firefighter, because you do a job, you do your role, and you play a part of a bigger picture. I probably have like a little militaristic kind of mentality because my father's in the military. So I'm very task oriented, and I understand that you play your part for the team. And so that's how I work within organizations and structure. And that's what I hope to do after the sport, hopefully in a way that can help the sport.
You'll break the world record in the Olympic final 2020.
Woo! Woo! One thing, I'm definitely going to try. That's for facts.
Do you have a morning routine?
Yes. I like routines. I battle with my girlfriend with this all the time because I guess opposite attracts. She's like a free butterfly and I'm literally like a structured dog. It's like, I like routine because I believe, I live by a bunch of quotes, if you can't tell. But I believe
Same here.
Thank you. I believe there's freedom in discipline, and the idea that by being disciplined with your time and by being disciplined with your crafts, it allows you the freedom to do what you want later. So when you take care of things now, you'll have the freedom that you want later. So I try to be very disciplined, especially in the morning, because it sets the course for your day. And so in the morning, I try to do some reading. Again, I spend some time meditating, praying, just getting my spirit and my head in the right space. Then I address any urgency things that has to happen in the morning. And then I like to get my blood flowing. So I prefer my workouts in the morning. It just really sets the course of the day. And then I pretty much prioritize my day by what needs to be done and address those things throughout the day. By the time 5 o'clock hits, I should be done my day. And so then I have the ability to kind of you know, leisurely pick my task and address the things that either needs more attention or so on and so forth. But I definitely believe there's discipline, there's freedom in discipline. And by having, at least I'm a little bit more flexible now, and I'm sure things might change if I have, by God willing, some children in the future, because life happens with kids. But at least by laying down the foundation, you have something to build off of, and you're more prepared with contingency plans for being able to do what you need to do. So my routine is important. Set the pace for your day in the morning, and then flow through it with purpose.
Cool. How do you prepare yourself for important moments?
Practice, practice, practice. Like, I think that's what makes you confident in a race, right? The training gives you the confidence. I've done this amount of work. Like, I mentally, in training, put myself in the stadium, and in the stadium, put myself in training. Because when I get to the final, I can't be like, I'm nervous, I've never been before. I literally tell myself, I've been here before 10,000 times. It's just another day. Do what you've been doing. And so that gives you confidence. And so same thing, firefighting for one. The first time I ran into a burning building was exciting. It's definitely a different breed to become a firefighter. But what gave me the confidence was the training. I knew what my role was. I trusted my officers, my sergeant and my lieutenants. They did their job. I did mine. And so I knew what I was to be aware of. I was prepared for my training. I graduated top of my class, the most physical. So I knew that I was prepared for the moment. Plus adrenaline, plus excitement. And then you go in there and you literally are dancing with fire. It's something I can't explain. It's very different from a international final. But your mental space is very the same. You're clear, you're concise, you can hear everything and nothing at the same time. But what gives you the confidence is putting in the work, going back to those 10,000 hours. And even with interviews and speaking and things of that nature, I practice. I read your questions ahead of time, and I sit in front of a mirror and I prepare a level of ideas that, not necessarily a script, but ideas. Flow with your thoughts and allow yourself to be in a certain headspace of where you would want to be. I'm not yet like a president of an international organization, but I think about the problems on the ground level. Like, I don't know what it's like to make certain decisions. I can't judge certain men and women that have to do it. It's a lot of pressure when you're the one who has to say yes or no, whether it's Caster Semenya having an opportunity to run, or how many events are going to be inside of the Diamond League finals. These are big issues that are happening within athletics. I don't know what it's like to make that decision. I cannot judge those men and women. But if I had the opportunity to contribute, what are the things that you're weighing? What are the pros? What are the cons? And what is the direction of the sport truly going into? What's your time constraint? So by at least starting the conversation, I allow the soil to be more supple for the right information to come in, so that if given the opportunity to contribute, I can do those things as well. So it starts like at the early stage, almost like daydreaming. I think we kind of kill it in kids and the fantasy and the imagination, but it's those same thoughts that prepare us. As a kid, we wanted to be firefighters. Ta-da, I became one, because that dream was a seed that a thought was continuing to develop. And like I said before, in my mind, I probably told myself, I can become. And so I did. And so that just now becomes now just not a thought in my life, but now a principle that if I think it, I can also achieve it.